evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me is co-host Andre Doc Manders, and we are joined by the president of the Somerset Cricket Club, the host of the annual Cup Match Classic for this year, Mr. Vashon Blanchette. First of all, we want to get right to the Classic because we're just about 2 weeks away, or under 2 weeks away from the Classic, and Mr. President, first of all, welcome. How are things proceeding up at the West End?
Good evening, guys. Thanks for having me. In terms of preparation, things are moving along. If anyone has ventured Somerset, they will note that the bulk of the scaffolding has been erected. Obviously, that's a big feature of Cup Match. We're doing other things, obviously, inside the clubhouse, getting that up to a good standard so that we represent ourselves well, both on and off the field. The plumbers are on site, the electricians, we've done loads of painting. So everything that Cup Match entails has been underway, and we continue to work with good intent and be very deliberate in our actions so that we're ready for the 28th and 29th.
Yeah. What has been one of the biggest challenges thus far?
I wouldn't say there's been any challenge that we're unaccustomed to. We know the volume of work that it takes to put on an event of this magnitude. So preparations in earnest start in January. Obviously, a lot of the more labor type of work starts a bit closer to the event, but no challenges this year that we haven't encountered before. It's just about timing and having the manpower and resource to get it across the line.
Yeah, I wanna let Doc, as a former player, you don't always get you guys are always thinking about on the field stuff. But Doc, any questions for the president with regards to preparations of the grounds or just leading up to Cup Match?
Well, actually, I got no just for the preparation. The preparation is going really good by the pictures I'm seeing and I just got one question. It's now 50 COVID. I know COVID. In the event that, just say one of the players get it, just before, are you guys allowed to have like reserves that could come in to take one of these guys' spots? I'm sure that you and Mr. Painter has talked about this.
Well,
COVID's not going.
In recent years, it's been the norm that both clubs have been naming 3 reserves. So unless there's a situation whereby more than 3 persons come down with an illness, then that might have to require a separate conversation and discussion. But beyond that, let's say it's 1 or 2 persons, then ordinarily you would put one of the reserves that have been elected into the team.
Okay, so it has to be one of the reserves, or it could be any of the players that have been trying for Cup Match. Because sometimes
I would say,
you go ahead.
Yeah, in the first instance, it would be the reserves. But ultimately, the teams are not submitted until the day of the game. It's just been the custom that both clubs pick the Saturday prior. I know years back, obviously, I wasn't around. I heard stories. One guy was dropped from the Somerset team when he boat down to St. George. So I think in terms of formality, the teams can probably change right up until they're submitted to the umpires. But in a normal circumstance, you would expect that one of the named reserves would come into the team in the event of illness or injury.
Yeah, it's just that I know, but still, COVID's not finished, and I know that some of the cases is going up. I'm not saying that. I'm just hoping that nobody from Somerset catches COVID, even from St. George's. You want your best players to be playing. So I'm just hoping that both clubs come to some type of agreement that in the event that one of the players tests positive. Yeah. So would you guys still have tests right before Cup Match, or do you have to
put it this way? As it stands, there's no requirement from the powers that be that persons test players or otherwise test prior to Cup Match. Obviously, we would be cautious in the event that someone is sick so that you don't create a situation whereby they're coming to training and maybe other persons are getting sick as a consequence. But no requirements per se. But I also expect the players of both teams, because of Cup Match and the prestige and wanted to play, I expect and have every confidence that they will manage themselves accordingly in the lead up to Cup Match, because
Yeah.
ultimately, as an athlete, you wouldn't want to miss something of that magnitude. You would exercise every action to mitigate the potential risk of coming down sick a couple of days out from Cup Match.
Yeah.
Well, just to I guess piggyback on that, will you or have you had any conversation with the powers that be? I'm talking government regarding the uptick in numbers of late and what they will possibly want to see happen at Somerset.
I mean, we have weekly meetings, and I'll be frank, that hasn't really been a major talking point. And we have a meeting, I think, this week, midweek, so it may well be something that comes up as an agenda item, but to date, truth be told, that hasn't been a major talking point. A lot of it's just been around health and safety and, water testing and making sure that the scaffolding is erected within code and things of that nature, electrical standards and stuff like that, plumbing and having sufficient restroom facilities and things of that nature.
The normal stuff.
Yes.
That's circulated around Cup Match.
Yeah.
Anything new that the spectators can be looking forward to at the Somerset Cricket Club? I know every year something different changes. So what? Anything new on the horizon for the people coming to Cup Match?
I wouldn't say anything new. Obviously, we always look to, both clubs always look to enhance the product and add value. So we're always looking at ways in which we can improve it. There's a possibility, it hasn't been finalized, that there may be some sort of entertainment. Obviously, what Cup Match means, and this being the 120th anniversary. But we're always just trying to create a better experience, a more comfortable experience. And given the past few years that we've had, we're anticipating a good turnout.
Okay, all right. Any message for those that are coming to Cup Match? What you can't bring, and what you're hoping that they
the do's and don'ts, and they, it's the same old. Obviously, sharp objects. If you're pouring drinks of any kind in your camp, we encourage persons to pour them into plastic cups, particularly if they're going to leave their camp and have a walk around the field, which is the spirit of Cup Match. Pre-cut all of your fruit and things like that, so that you're not bringing anything that will be confiscated by security persons on entry.
Okay, all right. So it's safe to say that Somerset Cricket Club will be ready come Thursday morning to host and entertain the people who will come to watch.
Our club motto is Semper Paratus, which translates to always prepared. So on and off the field, Earl, we will be ready.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, one thing Doc and I have noted throughout this season, there's been runs of plenty on that square up there in Somerset. So.
Yes, as recent as today, I believe
Willicott's
250 odd, and Rangers lost by about 70 runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
have to earn your wickets.
That's true. In order for the challengers to win, they have to earn those wickets. They have to build up the champions twice, or bait them into declaring, which I can't see that happening. I mean, you have the cup, and you feel confident enough that come Saturday night, you'll pick the strongest team available to you to defend that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But John, I just got one more question. It's probably not to do with you. It's probably more to do with Jeff and the medical advice. How is Jordan coming along? I know he's missed a few games this year with injury, and then other illness too. So being as he kept it, how is he coming along the last couple of weeks?
He played today, so I actually just prior to coming on air was down at Bailey's Bay, watching and supporting the team, and he did play. And it's expected that he will be in training this week. But in terms of team selection and all of that other stuff,
No,
I leave
that's
that
not
to the
true.
cricket experts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, funny you should say that. I mean, you've watched Somerset this year quite a bit, I guess, whole season, and it's got to be a little worrying because there have been times that they've been short. We know and we've noted that you've had a lot of youngsters who were abroad in school and so forth. But is it a concern that you know the league team can't get 11 players on a regular basis?
Yeah, for sure there is some concern. And speaking more broadly, I think there's some concern. At least I have some concern for cricket across the island in terms of, you know, number of youth participants and stuff. So I know up in Somerset, we have 150 boys that come through our gates to play football, and we maybe convince a third of those to engage in cricket, and we see that across the island, right? So Somerset and all other clubs, we have a responsibility to create a product that is stimulating and engaging, so that, you know, cup matches around 120 years from now.
Yeah, we have to figure that out.
Yeah, that's a good point too, Sean, because, you know, coming up playing for Western Stars, we have the same problem, man. You know, for Dandy Time, like you said, we got all the youth programs coming straight through from under fives right up to, you know, the senior team. But for the cricket now, we are struggling for the youth too, man. And when I came up, that was never a problem. So, like you said, it's definitely something we have to do to get you know, a lot of these youngsters to play cricket. I mean, you know, it's so much other things they could do. At least a football, what, a couple hours you're out of there. Cricket,
Right.
you know, it's a longer day. And I'm sure a lot of these guys, you know, they'll rather do something else. But you know, that is so true, you know. And I have talked to Devar Boyles, who's the president, but you know, we're trying really hard to go into the schools to try to at least get some, you know, get start from there. But it has been difficult.
Yeah, and not to, you know, because it's not all doom and gloom for clubs. Many clubs, in many ways, their success is to their detriment. And by that, I mean, you know, you bring boys through your program and then they go away for 4 or 5 years to university, and you get that little period in between where, you know, they're not quite back, and you either have them really young and not quite ready, and older persons who are maybe on their way out, if that makes sense. So I think, you know, as a collective, if we're creative, we can re-stimulate the interest in cricket from the ground up.
And before you go, Sean, what's your message to Bermuda for this year's cup match?
I sound like a broken record. It's the same every year. You know, come out and enjoy yourselves, but while enjoying yourself, just take a moment to reflect on what cup match really means. You know, cup match is unique in that it brings us all together, and although we're divided along, you know, club colors, you know, behind that, we're really close together. And you know, reflect on what cup match means, and if we could bottle up the vibe and the atmosphere and the camaraderie that we have over those 2 days for the other 363 days across the island, I think we would be in a much better place, you know, socially and things of that nature.
Definitely. Well, we want to wish you all the best in hosting the event this year. Obviously, I'm hoping that the challengers are able to pull off.
Come on, Earl.
I'll leave the talk in the field.
Somebody's got to be on for the other team, and guess what? I'm hoping this year will be the year that we can change the cup hands, and if we are successful, then you become the challengers. The game goes like that, doesn't it?
I mean, the game is played on the field, obviously. But we're not quite ready to give it up. I know when I was a young boy growing up, all I knew was St. George's having the cup. So we're enjoying our turn.
Well, one thing's for sure, you're never ready to give it up. You just have to give it up. You lose.
Yeah.
So we weren't ready in 2012, but we gave it up. So 2022 will be the year that it makes its way back to the light blue and dark blue side. How's that?
Time will tell.
Not something you want to hear, that's for sure. And I know that's
it wouldn't
not
happen.
something you want to hear either.
It wouldn't happen.
Time will tell. We'll be talking on the Friday evening after the match, that's for sure. Well, Mr. President, thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to the very unique 2 days of cup match that 120 years, as you indicated. We're looking for a very entertaining 2 days of cricket. I was up at Somerset today, and things are looking really, really well in progress, and it looks as if you're ready to allow people onto their plots and really enjoy the 2 days that match is over.
The people were anxious. I mean, I was down at County yesterday and to see that crowd. So
yes,
on that basis, I think the people coming up on the 28th and 29th, and I'm already getting phone calls and messages. When can I come set up my camp and that sort of stuff.
And I tell you what, Fashan. No, one quick thing. I tell you what, since the COVID, like last year, they had cup matches at St. George's, but even though, it was under extreme, it was a lot of things you had to do, but they got the free will now, to really, and people's going to want to come out, man. It's going to, you're going to have your hands full. I just hope everything goes well with you guys this year, because, I know most of the clubs, that's how, you get revenue. And I just hope everything goes well for you guys over the 2 days. I hope you get bumper crowds both days.
Yeah, for sure. Bumper crowds while, still being safe and everyone enjoying themselves and, no major incidents.
Definitely. Before you go, there's a mural on the Clyde Bass Lane that's on the Somerset.
Clyde Bass Lane, the northern end, Yeah,
the northern end. Clyde Bass is an icon for the island. I know Somerset claim, a lot of stuff, but an icon on the island. And I just think it's really, really, really good that it's been dressed up in his honor and something he has the opportunity to see. And because when I was up Somerset today, the amount of people that were driving through there to see people finishing off, it just looks marvelous. And I think anybody that takes the time to go to cup match, if you can't get to Somerset beforehand, take a walk through the Clyde Bass Lane just to see what talent Bermuda has of the man Clyde Bass and of the people that have taken out the time to just draw and paint and do the whole thing. It really, really looks nice.
Yeah, and I must give credit to Barbara Dillis, who was a local artist. She was actually my art teacher at West End. I wasn't a very good art student, but she was the one, or she is the one, behind that initiative. So it's very much a community club and public sort of partnership. And like you said, it's that wall basically tells Clyde's story through art and paintings and stuff like that. And even myself, I wouldn't ordinarily go that way so much, but I catch myself going through more often now just to see where they are in terms of their progress.
Definitely. Well, thank you, Mr. President, for your time. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll get into the match that the president was talking about yesterday, Eastern County.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Welcome back. Well, Doc, the first round of the Eastern County Cup competition took place yesterday at Lords and St. David's, where the cup holders, St. David's, won the toss and elected to bat. They would score 281 for 8 in their allotted 65 overs, as the match now goes 65-55. They had O.J. Pitcher, the top scorer, with 108. Chris Douglas scored 96. Those two put on a 156-run second wicket partnership after they had lost Dean Simons with the score on 26. Douglas was next to go when the score was 182. St. David's realizing, the overs were running out, and they started to really push on and try to get some runs. And again, O.J. Pitcher scored 108. Kevin Hurdle. As we know, Kevin Hurdle came up, was a pace bowler. He turned to spin. Yesterday he finished with 3 for 63 from 18. Nelson Bascom was 3 for 43 from 12. Then in reply, the rain cut the match short. Just before the close of play, rain halted the match. Flats were 171 for 8. Dejan Carey, their captain, was the top scorer with 40, and player coach Keywan Franks was on 38 not out. St. David's had George O'Brien bowling 17 over 7 maidens, 3 for 38. Saf Campbell bowled 5 overs, he took 2 for 28. So, St. David's started off really, really slow and trying to be in control of the game. Flats were bowling tidy, but as the day wore on, and we know it, and this has been a big problem in Bermuda sports in general, is that once you're not, for cricket, once you're not claiming wickets, the body language of the fielders start to go down and down and down, and then fatigue sets in, and as you know, each session of Eastern County is 2 hours and 30 minutes. That's a lot of time to be out there for a first session, especially if only one wicket's fallen and you're looking at the scoreboard and you're saying, man, what do we have to do?
Yeah, and that's why we talk about our partnerships. Remember I tell you? Partnerships, and that partnership between Chris Douglas and OJ probably knocked the stuffing out of Flats. But sometimes if they got partnership with it like that going, and I think Flats is trying to do that, is keep the runs down, because if they could keep the runs down, because now they're going to bat 65 overs, you're stealing the game. You know what I mean? Like you said, at the end, St. David's had to try to hit out because the overs was going. So I'm thinking if it would have probably kept it a lot closer, even though the partnership was a good partnership, maybe they would have kept the runs down. They probably had a better chance chasing a lower total, probably chasing what they got. St. David's got 270, 281. You could probably be chasing 240, and so that's one of the things that they could have probably done a lot better.
Yeah, and the thing is, with county, there's no fielding restrictions, so Flats, they kept everybody in, kept everybody tight. St. David's couldn't pierce the field, but there was a period where when OJ came in, some of the field placing had to be questioned because he kept hitting the ball over the top down to the boundary, square leg boundary, top corner area on a regular basis, and they just never thought to put anybody out, especially against Regino. And by the time they did think to put somebody out there, Chris was on strike, so they had a man set for OJ Field and not a man set for Chris Field, and Chris kind of then took over for a period of time because those two were kept, attacking at times. But you gotta be aware when things are getting challenging. You gotta be aware as a leader on the field, and the senior players have to help out to stem that flow of tide, and that just didn't happen for Flats. There was a period where those two really dominated them. In a matter of 12 overs, I think they put on 80-something runs.
Yeah, and there's a two experienced batsmen. I think they probably came up with a game plan to attack those two, because it could have been if they would have got one of those too early, you never know what could happen. But
Yes.
being that those two, Chris is in kind of form now. He made runs last week, about 100. OJ has been in form all year. So those are the two batsmen they needed to target. Even if they would have got one out, and then you could always work on the others. But being that you couldn't get not either one out, it's the only other thing I think they probably could have done is keep the runs down. Like you said, maybe defend the boundary balls, give them the singles or whatever, and try to at least build on a good line, and build on to a field. Like if you're building to one, try to build to one side of the field. But then again, that's hard. It's easy to say, but sometimes if you got a left and right hander, like Chris and OJ, it was probably difficult too. You got the left and right. Keep changing the field. That also messes up the fielding team too, because all the fielders got to remember the positions. And that takes time too. But you gotta give credit to St. Davis for those two, for that partnership. And then again, with the rain coming too later in the game, so that still didn't give Flats a chance to at least go off the target. But being that they only had like 55 versus chasing 280, that was probably a little bit too much. But like I said, if they would have eliminated some of those runs, at least 30 or 40 of those runs by different field placement and a different strategy, you never know what could happen on the day.
Yeah, and that's just the thing. Working to restrict the numbers of boundaries you're giving up. It can be a big thing. Can be a really big thing at the end of the day. Unfortunately, they had their turn. Now it's up to Cleveland. St. Davis move on. We have cut match in between, but St. Davis move on, and then it's Cleveland's turn. And we've seen when we get to today, Cleveland beat Flats, at Wellington Oval. So, spirits are high. As you indicated, Chris Douglas scored a century last week, and he looked as if he was on his way to another century this week. Unfortunately, he was caught on the boundary. OJ has been in form, and we have to talk a little bit more about George O'Brien. This is the second week he's bowled 17 overs, because he bowled 17 in a game. He bowled 17 overs in the cup match trial last week. Saturday got 3 wickets. Turns around and bowls 17 overs this week. 7 maidens, 3 for 28. I mean, as you said, he's not as fast as he was, but now he's crafty.
Yeah, there's a lot of variations.
Mm-hmm.
So you always got to be thinking as a batsman, slow ball, a little probably in swinger, a little away swinger, and like I said, it's not bowling that quick, but it's like you said, it's bowling a good line and length. So he can probably bowl 15, 16, 17 overs. So being crafty like how George is, there's 17 overs probably, and like you only gave up 30 something runs, so. That was very good bowling.
he would have helped to put St. David's in the driver's seat and on the field as well, because he's not giving up a lot of runs. You know, the batsman batsman is struggling to get him off the square. You might get a boundary here and there, but most of the time it's a single. You know, so because he's like you say, he's got so many different variations. So we shall see.
Well, his inform is Berlin wise for St. Davis, and then again you got OJ, who is on form with the bet. So you know, and then you know, if St. Davis team, you still can't count them out anything. I mean, like you said, I think they was losing to St. George's today, so that's going to open up the league again.
They have
you know. So teams and Rangers lost, so teams like Bayless Bay. I don't know about St. George's because they haven't got too many victors. But teams like Bayless Bay and then again St. Davis too. You know, it's still, I tell you, it's going to still go on to the wire.
2 more weekends of cricket. So, you know, is it 2 or 1? 1.
Well,
it's 1.
If it's 1, Bayless Bay is in the driver's seat, isn't it?
Yeah, Bayless Bay are in the driver's seat. I think it's 1. I think this is week 9. So yeah.
Because Western Stars, I think they clinched promotion, beating Warwick today.
Yes.
So even though they got 1 more game left, they still be going up next year in the 50 overs. So that's a good achievement for them.
Sure. Well, just before we go commercial, let's run down the scores from this weekend. As we've already indicated, the Eastern County first round, St. David scored 281 for 8, with Flex replying 179 for 8. That match was drawn. Then today, Willacott won by 73 runs over Southampton Rangers. Willacott scored 252 for 7. Southampton Rangers were all out for 178. Bailey's Bay won by 63 runs over Somerset Cricket Club. Bailey's Bay were all out for 195, and then bowled Somerset Cricket Club out for 132. St. George's Cricket Club won by 93 runs over St. David's Cricket Club in a very high-scoring match. St. George's scored 332 for 5, and St. David's scored 239 for 8. In the first division, as Doc just indicated, Western Stars won by 237 runs over Warwick Workmen's Club. Western Stars scored 308 for 7, and then bowled Warwick Workmen out for 71. Cleveland County won by 3 wickets over Flats Victoria. Flats were bowled out for 120, and Cleveland scored 121 for 7. And then Somerset Bridge won by 84 runs over PHC. Ready, Doc? Somerset Bridge were all out for 118. And remember I said they won by 84 runs? That's because they bowled PHC out for 34. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll break down those, we'll look at those Premier Division matches and First Division matches. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, you know, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, Doc, let's start with that first match down at Seabreeze Oval. Bailey's Bay are now, like you have indicated, in the driver's seat, having won by the 63 runs over Somerset Cricket Club, 195. You had Stephen Otterbridge score 60. 67. You had Coolidge Dorms at 56. Greg Mabry was the pick of the Somerset Bowlers. 10 overs, 5 maidens, 4 for 26. And Jamal Proctor took 4 for 54 from 10, with that included 1 maiden. Somerset actually got off to a good start with Jacob Albertese and Mike Watson, both the openers, both getting 28, but then eventually Bailey's Bay would rip through them, and they were all out for 132, with Jordan Burgess finishing with figures of 6 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 22, and Kyle Hutzel 6.5 overs, 3 for 26. So Bailey's Bay quietly going on about the business, and you know, they started the season off announcing that former national coach in Gus Logie was going to be assisting them, and it looks as if that has paid off dividends. I mean, you know, they've gotten the confidence and they're doing everything they're supposed to be doing to pick up the wins.
Yeah, that's true. And not only that, they lost 3 or 4 players too.
Yes.
So so you know, with the youngsters coming in, one thing about Bailey's Bay, I've got youth program. I've got youth that was coming through anyway. So and then with God's down there helping them, you know, a very experienced coach like us. So you know, that's helping Bailey's Bay a lot. Of course, got Stephen Otterbridge that's come back out to help them. Terrence making runs and Coolidge Durham. So everybody's been chipping in. But what I've been impressed with it has been the bowling, because they've been able to bowl out a lot of the teams cheaply, and that's because you look your boy Walker and your boy Burgess been getting wickets, you know, all the time. So you know, by getting 3 or 4 a game. So you know, that's they're doing really well. Like I said, it's not a real a team that it's got, like, you know, I would say experienced players. The only experienced players that are in there is Taryn and Stephen Albrecht, and the rest are youngsters. Like Coolidge Storm, like, you know, those guys are experienced, but with the youngsters and with them, you know, they're doing really well. You know, especially to be you know, leading the league now, and with the wins that they got, you know, so that, you know, looking really good.
And we've talked about this particular team, despite their early season losses. Willocuts, they've now picked up another win. They picked up a 73-run victory over Southampton Rangers. Willocuts scored 252 for 7. Antonio Darrow was the top scorer with 61. Ross Solomon Burrows added 50. Nairobi Mills took 3 for 41 from 10 with 1 maiden. There was a injury concern to Dion Stovall, possible groin injury while he was bowling. He did come back on the field to bowl a few more overs, and he did bat, although out for 8. But Southampton Rangers, and for that sake, Somerset, will be watching closely and evaluating the progress of Dion's injury as we get closer to the Cup Match Classic. We know a groin injury can actually start to feel better you know, after a few days, immediately it's tough, but after a few days, because you're walking straight, but then the minute you try to stretch or overstretch, that could all come rushing back and put you and set you back. In reply, Rangers were all out for 178. Jelani Oldboy was the top scorer of 31. Joseph Baisden was the pick of the Willicott Burlist, 3.1 overs, 3 for 9. So, you know, we talk about Rangers, but we even though Willicott were losing those games earlier in the season, they were still putting on 250 runs. And look, 250 runs got them a win today.
Well, you got to remember, they also got Herbie Bastons to help them coaching them up there and playing. So, you know, there's another experienced player coach that's been helping them in the last 4 or 5 games to get wickets. And, you know, basically, yeah, and not only that, with his coaching, you know, helping coach the team. So, you know, that's a big bonus for them to have a national coach with them too. So, you know, like I said, Willicott has been doing, you know, what talked about them all season, how they've been making runs against some of the top teams all the time, you know, and they like I said, they just keep on continue on doing it. Now they beat Rangers, so that's another good result for them. So, you know, you can't really count them out of going down too. It's good. Like I said, it's still going on to the wire. Who is going to win the league and who's going down?
Yeah.
So
Willicott's
probably come down to the last game.
Yeah, Willicott's were trying to catch St. George's, but St. George's done themselves a favor by beating St. David's by 93 runs. St. George's again 332 for 5. You had Onias Bascom 83, Treadwell Gibbons 74, Jonte Smith 40. Zico Burgess scored 43 from 15 balls. He had 2 4s and 4 6s to get him to that 332. They also had 42 extras. And then in reply, St. David scored 239 for 8. You had Derek Bringman out for 92, Ricardo Bringman out for 59. Those two put on a 6-wicket partnership of 110 to over a period of 16 overs. Derek had 10 4s and 4 6s, and Ricardo had 2 4s and 4 6s. In the bowling department, Shakai Darrell took 3 for 31 from 10 overs for St. George's. So, you know, now that Bailey's Bay, like you said, now sit comfortably on top of the table. St. David's going to need some help if they can claim the title, because those two were neck and neck coming into the weekend. So a quick look at the standings that was sent out last week or this week would show that, again, Bailey's Bay should be leading the league now, because St. David's were leading the league with 87 points, and Bailey's Bay had 73 points. So depending on if St. David's got any batting points or whatever, I mean, that could be neck and neck. Southampton Rangers losing, they had 68. St. George's had 59. So St. George's could possibly have overtaken Southampton Rangers, and Willicott's were on 47. So this week coming up, after all the cup match hype of Saturday, players have got to turn their attention to trying to stay up. Will the 2 Western teams go down, or will we see a shock? Can Rangers go down? That would be a shock. So we wait to see that, you know.
And yeah, that's going to be interesting. We talked about it all every show, that it's going to go down to the wire, and it is.
Yeah, that's what we want, down to the wire.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting 50-over season, and right off the cup match will be 2020. So hopefully it will be the same.
Yeah, I can actually see that. With St. David's in the first division, I think they have enough firepower to kind of run away with that if the senior players decide to play. And I'm pretty sure they would want the club in Premier Division and would get off to a good start in the first division. But it's one of those things. You have to win the games on the day.
Yeah.
We're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk those first division as well as Player of the Week and Player of the Month. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seen this?
Welcome back. Well, let's go through the first division scores again. Western Stars put on another big total, 308 for 7 in 50 overs, having been sent to bat by Warwick Workmans at Southampton Oval. Jason Anderson was the top scorer of 62, and Dante Wellman, another good weekend for Dante, 59. Warwick Workmans had Corey Burgess-Bill, 8 overs. He took 3 for 57. Unfortunately, Warwick were all out for 71 in reply. Jacoby Butterfield was the top scorer with 28. And again, Seth Campbell with the ball for Western Stars again. 9 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 44. Doc, Western Stars are scoring over 250 in the first division week in and week out. Now that they're promoted, they now need to look to make sure that they can continue getting those type of scores in the Premier Division, and they need to start working on that kind of right away.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Everybody's been chipping in with the bet like today. I was watching it online. It's basically a team effort. Dante Wellman's making a lot of runs. So what's strange, Brian Hall got 100 last week. And this week he got 0, and they still scored 300. So it was like my nephew got 40, Gavin, Trey got 47 towards the end. They took it up to 300, and then Jason Anderson, for this experience, he bets through the innings. He got 60. My other nephew Jacon's playing. I got three or four nephews playing now, and they're all doing well. So I think they talked about it during the last year when my brother passed. That what a lot of brought a lot of my nephews out. That's one of the reasons why Trey went back to Western Stars too.
Right.
Then you got Gavin this back out. Of course you got Jade and Jakun and Jamori.
Yes.
So they're all doing it for my brother. They felt like they earned because Anthony, he was always the Western Stars game, football, cricket, everything. So they just said that right now they want to do everything for him and my mother. So which is good. But everything is a team. I think the only thing now, they still need to work on their burden. Even though they knocked down Warwick for 71 today, but they still need probably another seam bowler and maybe one more spinner. But otherwise, their fielding and their betting's it's been betting teams. It's been actually like betting teams right out of the games, because it's 2 weeks in a row that scored 300 runs.
Yeah.
So it's not a good result for them against Warwick, because Warwick beat them last time.
Right.
So and I know that, and they didn't really like that. They had talked about that, but it's good that they're scoring so much runs and they're playing as a team.
Right. And then the other match, we saw a low-scoring affair. Cleveland County won by 3 wickets over Flats Victoria. Flats won the toss, elected to bat, and were bowled out for 120. Cofield Robinson was his top scorer with 38. Kushai Darrell was the pick of the Cleveland bowlers. 4.4 overs, 1 maiden, 4 for 15. And Makai Young, 5 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 18. In reply, Cleveland scored 121 for 7. Stephen Bremer was the top scorer of 31. Kevin Tucker returned figures of 10 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 35 for Flats Victoria. So a good win for Cleveland. They were leading the league at one point in the first division, and now they came into this game in 4th place, playing 3rd place Flats. So it's going to come down to the wire again, even in the first division, Doc, because Stars going into the weekend would have had. They were leading the league with 79 points. Warwick was 73. Flats were 66, and Cleveland were 65. So now with all this changing, it's now in the hands of Warwick and Cleveland, who will get that second promotion spot next week.
Promotion. Yeah. Like I said, and that's good for Stars. So you don't have to, I'm just saying that they're not gonna, rest on their laurels. They still got to win their last game. They will want to, but it just takes some pressure off them, especially coming from behind, because they had a few makeup games. One game was rained out, and they had another, like that game, like under 19 game was played later, just last week. So they got points from that. So like I said, it's good results for them. And the other teams, Cleveland Flats, were basically doing good all season. Those were the top 2, and Warwick. So all the teams are battling down there too. Even Somerset Bridge was doing good early in the season. So it's been a battle on both the first division and Premier Division, which is good. That's how you want cricket play it. Like no team is really dominated in both divisions. Stars just dominate now the last 3 or 4 games. But it's still been pretty even for during the rest of the season, in the early season. So like I said, it's good for cricket.
Yeah, and then the final first division match, it was Somerset Bridge winning by 84 runs over PHC. PHC won the toss and sent Bridge to bat. They were looking good. They bowled them off 118. Kieran Richardson was the top scorer with 21. Taron Webb was the pick of the PHC bowlers, 8 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 22. In reply, PHC were all out for 34, though not one batsman scored in double figures. The top scorer was 6. The extras was actually the top scorer of 18. Noah Woods bowled 6 overs, 2 maidens, 3 for 5. And Richardson bowled 3 overs, 3 for 16. So they took the bulk of the wickets for Somerset Bridge to restrict PHC. Unfortunately, not the way you want to kind of come to the end of the season, but you still have to pick yourself up because you still have 2020 to play for PHC.
Yeah. And then PHC, they got a young team up there, you know, from watching them play for the last couple of years. They always had, you know, a lot of players is left from up there and going different clubs.
Right.
But they got a nice little young, they got a couple of players for the under 19s. So if they could keep their team together and add some more experienced players, hopefully they should be all right.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we last week we selected Brian Hall as the player of the week, and this was the presentation earlier this week for the Player of the Week award.
My name is Andrew Holmes from Goslin's Rum. Excited to be here with Brian Hall of Western Stars. You scored 157 not out to beat Cleveland County, and you were selected as Player of the Week. So congratulations, keep up the good work, and keep inspiring all the young people. We've got a gift of Goslin's Flora Gold Rum for you to enjoy with your family. Cheers.
Yes,
Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
And then, of course, we had the Player of the Month for the month of June. It was O.J. Pitcher from St. David's. This was the presentation.
Good day, I'm Andrew Holmes of Goslin's Rum. I'm excited to be here with O.J. Pitcher today, St. David's Cricket Club, who won the Player of the Month for consistent batting, keeping those runs coming in. So keep up the good work. Congratulations.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much. Here's a gift certificate for you to enjoy.
Thank you. Just like to thank Goslins for providing this award. It gives the players an incentive and something to work towards every month. You know, so again, I greatly appreciate it and look forward to winning a few more if I can.
We appreciate what you do because sport's very important for the community. Keeps everyone coming together, and keep up the good work.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
There you have it. Well, Doc, this week we've had some top batting performances again. O.J. Pitcher, that 108 for St. David's yesterday against Flats Victoria. Chris Douglas, 96. Derek Brengman, 92 today, although he lost. Onias Bascom, 83. Jason, 62 in that Western Stars match. You had in the Somerset Bridge, you had 3 for 5 from 6 overs for Noah Woods. Kevin Tucker, 3 for 35 for Flats. Kushai Darrell, 4 for 15, helping Cleveland County bowl Flats out for 120 in 4.4 overs. You had 4 for 22 for Seth Campbell in that Western Stars victory, bowling Workman out for 71. Obviously, I said Jason with the 62. Dante Bowen with 59. Corey Burgess, 3 for 57. In the St. David, St. George's game, you had Onias Bascom scoring 83 over 50 balls. Treadwell Gibbons scored 74. Justin Pitcher, 2 for 47. And then in reply, again, you had Derek Brengman scoring 92. You had Ricardo Brengman scoring 59, but they fell short of the target. The Bailey's Bay victory over Somerset, Stephen Utterbury scored 67. Coolidge Durham added 56. Greg Mabry, 4 for 26. Jamal Proctor, 4 for 54. In reply, they bowled Somerset out for 132. You had Jordan Burgess, 3 for 22. Kyle Hudson, 3 for 26. And then in the match between Willowcutts and Southampton Rangers, you had Antonio Darrell scoring 61. Ross Solomon scoring 50. Nairobi, 3 for 41 from 10. In reply, Willowcutts bowled them out for 178 with Joseph Baiston, 3.1 overs, 3 for 9. They had 3 other bowlers taking 2 wickets. So, I mean, there's a lot to think about. But what stands out for you?
What stands out for me was Onias' Eddie. Did Onias get any wickets too? Because normally he bowls too.
Yeah, he bowled, but he bowled 6 overs, 1 made, none for 23, giving up. His economy rate was 3.83.
Yeah, that's not bad. Well, like I said, I'm leaning towards Onias or Stephen Otterbury at 60 because they're both basically because their two teams won and they scored, they scored vital runs. In St. George's case, it was in the relegation, and Onias has been consistently scoring runs all the time too, or getting wickets. And Stephen Otterbury has made runs last week, and he made runs again this week. So I'm leaning towards one of those two, even though you got some good results in the first division too, like Seth picking up 3 or 4 wickets, and the little boy for Richardson from Cleveland getting 4 wickets, wickets too. Yeah. So but I don't know about you, but I was leaning towards Onias.
Okay. Look at to get 300 odd runs against St. David's, mine just the day after getting playing county. It set the tone for St. George's, helping them to that big total, and the win, as you've already indicated, in a relegation battle. They needed to win. They had to win, and these has led them to victory. So we'll announce as Onias Bascom as the player of the week. Before we go, Doc, I do want to give people an idea of the matches that will be played next week Sunday that will decide the title for the 50 overs. St. George's will host Southampton Rangers at the Wellington Oval. St. David's will host Somerset at Lord's, and Willowcutts will host Bailey's Bay up at Somerset. Where do they take a trophy?
Well, they had to wait. They have to wait to all the matches finish.
Stay in time.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Willowcutts have proven they can score plenty of runs on the wicket up at Somerset. So
yeah,
Bailey's Bay will really need to pay a lot of attention this week to detail, and I know someone like Gus will have them tuned in. They will really want to be tuned in, and of course St. David's as well, because despite their loss, they could still be 1 point lead or just behind. So we'll know when the league standings come out this week where everything is situated, and then of course it's game day next week, and it's title deciding day, and also we know it's relegation day.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting next weekend, and it'll also be the cup match teams too.
That's right. We'll know the cup match teams. Yes.
Yeah, so
and what we'll try to do is see if we can invite the 2 captains on, just to give an insight on the selected teams for cup match, and of course we'll get into league titles and so forth. So as you indicated, you have some concerns about the Somerset captain, who hasn't played much this year, but he did play today, and it was good to see him play today. Hopefully he has recovered. He was unwell last week, and clearly today he's been better. So wishing Jordan all the best. Just because you want to see, everybody have the opportunity to make this team. This particular game, cup match, is the biggest game in local sports. Year in and year out. So I know he'll be chomping at the bit to be again the leader of Somerset, and it's nothing bigger than that to be the captain of a cup match game. And I know you that was an honor you had for Somerset, and I know when you live with that for the rest of your life, that only a certain amount of people have that title, captain of cup match.
Yeah, and it comes with a lot of headaches with it too, but you have to be strong with it. But no, the reason why I'm saying that, Earl, because early in the season he didn't play, and then he did come back out and play, and then we heard that he was ill too. So And for a cup match it's 2 days. You have to have the best players on the field. So I wanted to be at least 95% ready to go both days, because I think last year he was ill again and he was off the field for. Hopefully we need Jordan on the field. As captain, leading the team like it's been doing over the last 4 or 5 years that it's been taking over. So like I said, we'll find out over the next week or so.
Sure.
And I'm sure they will give him fitness tests and the other thing else he would need. So it'll be interesting to see.
Definitely. Well, Doc, next week this time we'll know who's representing the champions and the challengers. So let's be prepared, and then let the banter start, because I know this is the year that the East Enders will take the cup back to the East End on Friday. Not no kid bringing it down on Saturday.
Time will tell.
Time will tell, definitely.
Yeah.
Enjoy your night, partner. Appreciate you.
You too, mate. All right.
Have a good night.
Good. Cheers.